From the sequel being way funnier than the OG show to it doing justice to the backstories of Sheldon's family members. Here's why The Big Bang Theory sucks compared to Young Sheldon. The Big Bang Theory had its time in the sun from 2007 to 2019 and showed fans everywhere how a group of different scientists lived their daily lives. They dealt with the ups and downs of relationships, the progress and setbacks of science, and the daily problems of being an adult. But Young Sheldon's a prequel. That shows how the popular character Sheldon grew up to be the person that he is now. With two shows featuring the same person, it's understandable that fans have been asking which is better, and I've got the answer for you. Young Sheldon is way better. For starters, it's a lot funnier. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. A lot of fans have found the prequel to be much better, mostly because the younger version of Sheldon, who's more charming and interesting than the older version. While Sheldon's character growth isn't as good as in the main show, the younger genius is a lot more bearable. Fans love seeing how clueless he is and how hard it must have been for him to grow up in a family like the Coopers. Also, while The Big Bang Theory follows your regular sitcom-ish comedy routine with punchy one-liners and a laugh track, the new show's comedy is a lot fresher. The OG show lacks originality, predictability, and the pace can sometimes get on viewers' nerves. But Young Sheldon always finds a way to keep things lighthearted and avoids falling into the trap of getting too serious or too dramatic. Just having Meemaw in such a prominent role makes it a win. She's the life of the show and so funny. Another thing that sets it apart is how, with the Cooper family on full display, Young Sheldon's essentially a family-oriented show. The Big Bang Theory's all about friendship and how adults navigate their relationships. The parents of the key characters play a part in the stories of the scientists, but the focus isn't on the family relationships. Instead, most of what happens in the story revolves around the main group of friends, but the sequel focuses on the importance of family. Friends may come and go as part of a character's growth, but families forever. They work with the characters to try and solve their problems and essentially make them better people. The show's main characters love and help each other a lot, and when the family fights start, the audience feels like we're all in this together. The Cooper parents raised 3 children that were different, like day and night, but they still gave them their all and loved all of them unconditionally. While I'm talking about the families, The Big Bang Theory couldn't dive into the backstories of its characters, only the state that they're currently in. But Young Sheldon had that opportunity and did one hell of a job. Backstories are super important. Not only do they give the viewers a deeper look into the characters, it makes us sympathize with them even more. Take Sheldon's twin sister, for example. In Season 6 of Young Sheldon, we find out why Missy's so unhappy on The Big Bang Theory. She's one of the first members of the Cooper family to show up in the nerdy sitcom. And even though she was only on The Big Bang Theory for a few episodes here and there, it was enough to show that she was having a harder time than her brothers. When you think about how much potential she had in the prequel series, this seems unfair. But Season 6 of Young Sheldon shows why she had to go through what she did as an adult. The OG series ruins everything for the Coopers, including Georgie, by making it clear that he and Mandy would break up. In the prequel show, Season 6, Episode 11, CBS found a way to explain why Missy's life as an adult is so bad. She thought she was responsible for her parents' marriage blowing up. In Ruthless, Toothless, and A Week of Bed Rest, Missy goes up to her father after she finds out that he's been meeting with Brenda in the chicken coop. Even though it's fair to call George out on his weird behavior, Missy seems to be doing it just to get back at him for being so strict. Then, Missy lets slip that her mother Mary had been getting cozy with the young Pastor Rob. That's when the cracks in their marriage started showing, and both Mary and George couldn't recover from that. Plus, Missy could never get over the fact that her parents gave Sheldon all their attention and never really seemed to care about her much. But nothing affected her more than the death of her father. And while it was obvious that Missy loved both her parents, she never got the chance to reconcile with her mother since they were always at opposing ends. But George always found some way or the other to make it up to his daughter, and they got pretty close. Missy started acting out in her teenage years, and everyone would call her a dumb teenager, which makes no sense, because it's obvious how emotionally mature and smart the girl is. Another thing that makes the prequel better is the fact that they don't ruin Mandy and Georgie's story. This couple has been at the center of a lot of controversy since the first time they got together, given their age difference and the fact that an underage Georgie got the older woman pregnant. With the arrival of their baby girl, the two start to get closer once again. But all of this is so bittersweet, since we know that they won't end up together because of Georgie's storyline on The Big Bang Theory. With the birth of their child, their relationship took an unexpected turn, and she's come to respect how kind he's been to her during this hard time. Since they've been through so much together, it's hard not to want them to do well. Georgie's life was ruined by The Big Bang Theory, which showed us that he was a successful tire salesman, but had 3 bad marriages. This means that no matter how young Sheldon's story goes, Georgie and Mandy won't end up together. You'd know how good their story is, especially if you've seen episode 11 of season 6. Mandy's mom had been putting down the Coopers and making fun of Georgie for a while, but Mandy stands up to her at the baby shower. She says that Georgie will be a great dad, and he probably will be, given how good he's been through everything. Still, they could lose the baby because he didn't plan to have any more children soon. Even though this may explain why Mandy hasn't been on The Big Bang Theory, it's still terrible news for the Coopers' oldest son. Either way, it needs to happen in young Sheldon. It's not a secret that everyone wants this to happen. Mandy and Georgie's story needs to move forward. It would be a shame if they ruined it just because The Big Bang Theory doesn't back their happy ending. It's definitely one of the best creative arcs that young Sheldon has come up with, and given how popular the show is, CBS should think about how to improve the story of the prequel. Even though the Cooper family in The Big Bang Theory's less likable, that doesn't mean that the prequel can't have interesting characters and give them happy endings. It would be a shame if they gave up on it all because the character ended up differently in the original series. If there's anyone who deserves a happy ending, it's them. So with all of these things in mind, it's obvious that young Sheldon's taught fans that they can ignore The Big Bang Theory since it has a much better storyline. So far, almost every member of Sheldon's family has had a tough time, making this a busy year for the Coopers. The young boy genius is trying to make his way to Germany for a foreign exchange program. And while George can't figure out how he feels about Brenda Sparks, Georgie's trying to be a good father to his daughter and a good partner to Mandy. Missy's going through one of the worst rebellious phases that I've ever seen, and Sheldon's trying to show his parents that he can take care of himself in another country. All this means that the story's getting closer and closer to its inevitable end. We already know how Sheldon and his family are going to end up. It's kind of grim, but that's what TV's all about. So there you have it. From it doing justice to the backstories of Sheldon's family members, to the sequel being way funnier than the OG show, that was why The Big Bang Theory sucks compared to young Sheldon.